We have a new fee schedule. Takes effect on July 1st. It's online. There's actually a tool in ARIN Online where you can go look at your fees calculated under the new fee schedule. There's an FAQ of information about it. Major benefits. It effectively adjusted all the IPv4 resource category tiers down so that parties who go and obtain IPv6 resources, if they obtain the typical amount, they will no longer have to end up changing service category and thus paying more, eliminating the IPv6 penalty. The other thing is we allow end users now to pay for their registry services by opting for a registration services plan, just like ISPs are all enrolled in. Thus, they pay on their total resource holdings rather than number of records. They also get the benefit of ARIN membership. If you happen to have a large number of resource records, this might make sense. Doesn't make sense for anyone, but again, it's optional. It's something you can do if it's something that appeals to you. Let's see, ARIN Services Working Group. So the ARIN Services Working Group assists me in considering changes to ARIN Services. Standing Committee is tasked with facilitating discussion with the community and developing recommendations in a timely manner. We're going to have we have a working group. Aaron Hughes is chair. Paul Anderson is also from the Board of Trustees on it. The board last night appointed the volunteers to the committee from the list of volunteers: Martin Hannigan, David Huberman, Sean Kennedy, Dmitry Kamayak, thank you, Kamayak, and Matt Peterson. And so this is the group that will be the services working group. When we're working on suggestions or proposals from the community that are a little more complicated and we want to make sure we're heading in the right direction, the services working group is where I'll be turning to help develop things. So let's talk about some of the things it might be doing. We will have a publicly visible mailing list so they can conduct discussions and work on deliverables. Initial work items, two that we've talked about. One is the ARIN services document. Right now, we have a lot of information about what services you get spread on the website in a bunch of places. There's no definitive document, like we have a definitive number resource policy manual. There's no definitive document that says, here are the services that ARIN provides as an ARIN registry. Here's what we provide to each organization. And we think we need that. So we're going to work with the services working group, because that's a drafting, editing, re-editing, drafting kind of job to work on that. And then hopefully that'll give you a better reference for services received. There's one that I've been holding on to. I haven't talked much about it. Leslie actually is the expert on this. So about a year and a half ago, we had some people point out to us that registry, we have contact CKN23. And CKN23 is contact unknown. Shows up in a number of resource records. Over the course of about 10 years, we did some changes to how the registry was structured. The original registry had no organization field. Effectively, it was a flat table of networks. We added organization records. We linked organizations and networks. We've added an abuse contact. In the history of these changes, in trying to make sure that we did not end up with people hijacking records, we did a number of transformations in the database. We've looked at these, and it's possible that we were overambitious. So we're going to sit down with the services working group and work through some of those items and talk about what could be done. It might be desirable to try to make unknown contacts more known based on historical data. And this has also come up, by the way, of course, with transfers. People who do transfers, first thing we have to do is vet the organization, and there are people saying, I was the valid contact, I don't seem to be now, why is that? Some of that may be us being overly aggressive in how we did transformations and adding the organization records. And so it's something we're going to, rather than ARIN saying, oh, we'll just fix this and you can live with the result, we're going to go to the services working group and go, is this an issue? Here's some possible ways of changing it, work on a proposal to them, and then come back to the community and talk about it. We'll take on other items as suggestions come in or as raised by the working group through the chair. I'll work with ARIN and we'll figure out what else the group has to do. But those two items are probably quite large on their own, so don't be surprised if the rest of the working group queue is going to be somewhat in flux. That's actually all I have on fees and services. And at this point, I'm going to open the microphone for questions on either fees and services. New fee schedule, services working group, suggestion process. There will be an open microphone session later, so it's not your last chance, but I want to make sure everyone's happy before I move on. See, I knew I'd get someone up there.
Okay, let's try that again. David Farmer, University of Minnesota. When the new fee schedule came out, I looked at it and, as probably most people did, looked at what it meant to me. Mm-hmm. Looked good to me. The points brought up yesterday, in light of looking at what it might mean to some other folks, particularly at the top end, particularly some of the consequences of that, and most definitely of the timing of such someone were to throw a multi-digit multiplier onto my fees without like at least an 18-month window, right, would really cause me problems.
I can say that the ARIN Board of Trustees directed the staff last night to look at what options exist for phasing in parts of the fee schedule at the top end, because it's a very significant change, multiples of what they were paying before. No decision has been made, but we're going to see what can be done, not to change the fee schedule, but to change the implementation process to provide a timely consideration of it. Does that answer your question?
Well, yes, and
okay.
and a little bit of maybe double thinking the top end as well, but focus on the timing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Back microphone.
Kevin Bloomberg, The Wire, NAC. Just going on to the fee schedule, it looks great. Really, really happy about it, and I can't comment on the extra large sizes. I'm not that big personally. But one of the table topic concerns when it came to V6 and small organizations was that for many organizations, especially ISPs, there is no negative to having V6 in policy, right. Sorry, in the fee schedule. But if you are an end user and you would like to continue to be an end user, you are paying upfront for a new V6 block. Mm-hmm. I don't think the concern was the yearly maintenance fee of that additional block, but the upfront cost of having that additional block. And I would suggest to the body before me that possibly continuing with a fee waiver to increase, to continue that would be a good idea.
Actually, I know. Yeah. I'll bet you, Jason, you'd like to respond to that.
Jason Schiller, Google, ASOAC. I just want to have a clarifying question before there is a response to that. If an end user decides to have the registration services fee schedule, then there's no upfront cost. Is that correct?
If the upfront cost is the number on the registration services plan. So an end user could come in.
They fall into a bucket, and if they're already in a bucket, they're already paying,
correct.
So there's no upfront cost.
They could end up in a very small service category.
Correct, but even then, it is still more than what it would be if it was just the two blocks, the V4 and the V6 block. Or in another case, it would be more than if it was just a V6 block, because they're not actually even doing a V4 block with ARIN. So if they were going just to get their V6 block, would it not be cheaper to just have that?
I'm not gonna
defer
quibble.
it, but
I'm not gonna quibble on your math, but write down that example and send it to me.
I will,
because I'm having trouble thinking about that. The end users generally fall in really, really, really small categories. Mm-hmm. So, but let's write it down and we'll work on it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.